This is the Dull Man's Podcast, the podcast for dull men
and women
who get excited about dull things.
I'm Demetrius Deech, a stand-up comedian who shares his love of dullness with anyone who is prepared to listen. Now, I'm just 1/3 of what you'll be listening to, because here to help me make sense of this world of mundane madness is Faye H, widely and unanimously regarded as the world's best radio broadcaster of all time. She's pretty much the opposite of dull. And Dave Harris, who is producing this show, and I think is going to be running quite a tight ship. Dave's quite proud of his huge experience in the world of dullness. Now, what we'll be doing is each introducing something we've come across, maybe a fact, a statistic, a boring YouTube video perhaps, or someone's system of organising a fragment of their ordinary lives. We'll introduce each topic with a little quiz and orally meander through each one, and hopefully the mirth will follow.
I might have to pick you up a bit on that intro, actually, Deech, because
That's okay.
you described Faye,
Yes.
quite rightly,
Yes.
as a broadcaster,
Yes.
and and in fact the opposite of dull. You said
The antithesis
I'm
of
not
dull.
sure why I'm here.
but I used to work with Faye at the BBC, and I think she's just as dull as me.
She, on the surface, I think she is the antithesis of dull, but beneath the skin.
It all depends on who you talk to. If you talk to my husband, he'll say that I'm really dull. But I'd say the same about him as well. But it's very subjective, isn't it?
I think you're here. I think you're here really to mock us, Faye. To be honest.
That will be very, very easy to do, I'm sure. Having known Dave and you for a very, very long time. So let's get started.
Absolutely. Well, this is it anyway. So, what are the ground rules, Dave?
The ground rules.
No spitting.
Well, they're so dull.
No eye gouging.
I hardly dare
I've
say
already
them.
fallen asleep.
Yeah, exactly. We don't want to lose Faye this early, so I'm not sure I should tell you the rules. But we can discuss anything we like as long as it is very pernickety and extremely dull, but actually quite interesting. So no challenge there at all, really.
I don't think. Did you see the picture I sent you both with the way somebody had organised their bins?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah. Size order.
I love that picture.
Yeah,
love that picture.
Were they not your bins?
No, they weren't my. They weren't my bins.
Describe the picture to us, Deech, for the listeners.
Yeah, so we've got 4. I think were they all wheelie bins?
Yeah, they look like wheelie
I think
bins.
so, yeah.
And they went down in order of size because they have different
Which is a good start.
Yeah, and you pointed out, Dave, that they were colour coded as well.
Fantastic.
So that
I mean, it's just a double whammy, isn't it?
It is.
Size order and colour coded.
Yeah.
I mean, just how anal do you have to be to put those in front of your house?
Have you ever when you're in your car and you take your windows down? I have to have them at the same level.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
How do you know they're the same level if your eyes are on the road?
There are more important things than keeping your eyes on the road, Faye.
Okay.
Or maybe Deech stops when he needs to wind down the window.
Hold on, everybody in the car.
Well, in my main car, which has, and I don't want to show off. I don't want to show off here. Things are going quite well. I've got electric windows.
Wow.
So all the controls on the driver's side, so I can double press both passenger and driver's side and take it to the same level. If someone is in my car and starts freestyling, that really annoys me, and starts putting a window at a different height.
Why do they have to be at the same height then? Why?
It's just the uniformity.
Yeah.
And this,
nice symmetry.
Can I just take you down an aside for a second, because I was very interested in what you said there about having the electric windows, and, and obviously that's a sign of great prestige.
I don't know whether anybody's being sarcastic or not.
I'm being totally serious now, because I've been making a study of this. About the
your
fact
cars don't have windows.
Cars get, I drive a van, but cars are getting more and more sophisticated, as we know, and more gadgets and devices. And I think there are sort of levels of gadgetry which sort of basically tell everybody else about your status in the world. It used to be the model of the car. I've got a Jag, I've got a roller, I've got a Range Rover, whatever it was. Mm-hmm. But now it's the gadgetry. So you can get a quite relatively ordinary family saloon now, which will have the electric windows. They're bog standard now. Sorry, Deech. But they are.
I thought I was living the dream.
Yeah. But there's more. You can have electrically folding mirrors.
Yes.
Which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Press a button, zzz,
They come in. Yeah, it's the future.
It's absolutely.
Yeah.
But there's more. You can have heated seats.
Yes.
They're very nice. I have just bought a second-hand car which happens to have heated seats, and it's transformed my life.
Oh, it's a game changer.
It's absolutely my life is.
I'm just rolling my eyes.
He's living in his car.
No,
it's warmer than the house.
Bear with me. Picture this. It's a cold, frosty morning.
Yeah.
It's 7 o'clock. I got to take the kids to school.
Yes.
I get in the car.
Yeah.
Switch on the heated seat, and suddenly life
Warm
seems
bun.
a lot better.
Now you've got a heated seat in your driver's seat. Passenger seat is probably heated as well.
Yeah.
Kids in the back.
They can freeze.
Freezing their ears off.
They could be in the boot as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
I'm just listening
Daddy,
to the radio.
why are the windows open at the same level?
It's when my husband puts on the heated seats and he hasn't told me, and it feels like I've soiled myself.
Yeah, well, there is that. Yeah.
Thanks,
But
husband.
I read a report the other day from some medical.
I thought you to myself. No, it's the heated seats. Brilliant.
There was something in the paper the other day about a medical guy was claiming that the heated seat thing is actually good for your sort of back, for your lower back and things like that. So not only can I switch it on and feel good that I'm heating up via my bottom, but I'm doing myself good.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about going for a run or going to the gym. I've got a heated seat.
It's all in that, isn't it? That's right. How are you training to run a marathon? Just putting the heat on
Exactly.
on my car.
I'm loosening myself up with the heated seat.
Well, it does work when I go to play football, because even at my age I'm playing football. The heated seat does actually mean I have less deep heat to rub all over my body.
Well, there you go.
Which is a good thing. Do you remember? And this was probably a thing of about the 1980s and 1990s, that in service stations they were selling seat covers, and they were like knobbly bits of wood.
Oh yeah, like beads.
Yeah,
They were like beads.
Yeah,
They
my
were.
neighbour had one.
Yeah.
Of those.
Yeah.
And then apparently if you sat on them, then it would give you a new lease of life.
And every taxi driver in the whole of the Birmingham area had them.
Yeah.
And
They don't exist now.
Do they not? You can't. I must admit, I haven't seen one.
I think they were potentially really dangerous because each bead would be on a
hello.
string,
Hello.
and then
Oh,
so it would move.
Right.
But I just imagine
think you
people
could roll
going
around?
for the break.
You could lose some beads.
Yeah, you could seriously lose some beads. But going for the brake or the accelerator,
and
you've got that
sliding
momentum.
around.
Yeah, exactly. I think they were potentially
or
quite dangerous.
I thought a fire hazard. They could be a fire hazard.
Yeah,
Do you not
exactly.
think they'd have thought of that when they started marketing them?
Yeah, but it was the 70s and 80s.
Yeah,
Nobody
yeah,
really
yeah.
thought about health and safety.
Yeah, that's right.
Seatbelts, beads instead.
That's right. Didn't even bother with airbags then.
I think the more gadgets you have on a car, the more things that can go wrong. And a mechanic said that to me.
Yes.
Cars are so sophisticated now. They're too clever for their own
Yeah.
good,
Yeah.
and they're impossible to fix.
They're like washing machines. They're only designed to last for 2 years.
Yeah.
Then you're supposed to renew your PCP deal and get another one.
That's why I'm running my old car into the ground.
I didn't like to say that.
Yeah, I know.
Favourite gadget on a car? What could you live without then? Yours is obviously heated seats.
Heated seats
Dave.
got to be top.
Yeah. Faye.
I quite like my washers. The washers.
Yeah.
That's the universal
Did you know
sign for the washers.
some people have heated steering wheels as well?
Wow.
And I can sort of see that again on a cold, frosty morning. When your hands are a bit cold. You can wear the driving gloves, of course, if you really want to be a dull man.
What a wanker.
Faye, do you ever wear driving gloves, Faye?
No, I don't.
No, I have to say I don't possess a pair of driving gloves, but I know they exist. I've seen them in Halfords.
There's a company which makes, they're like a very posh manufacturer of gloves. I have, in my glove box, in my car, I have gloves.
Well,
Yeah.
excellent.
That is.
That's why it's got a glove box.
Yeah.
My cousin lent me her pea green driving gloves. We were out walking dogs.
Actual drive, like
yeah. They're so tight, and
can I ask?
they look like murderers.
Female
gloves.
cousin or male cousin?
Female.
A female having
It was a
driving.
really cold morning. She said, "I've got some spare gloves in the car," and presented me with these very tight-fitting pea green
Leather.
driving leather. Yeah,
course.
and I've still got them. I forgot to give her them back. And she's
Forgot.
like, "Yeah,
I'm having these."
I still got them. Yeah."
She's probably distraught about that. She's probably been
She's really
searching the
upset.
house high and
Yeah.
low. Where
Yeah.
are my pea green leather
But
driving
they're
gloves?
quite revolting.
I really, really, really want to see the. In fact, I don't just want to see
gonna
these.
send
I
you a
want to see
picture.
you in them.
Nothing else on, just the gloves.
Oh my word. I need a cold shower now.
I'll send you a picture of the gloves later.
This is the thing. I'm going to give you a question now. It's a multiple choice. So this is about astronauts. It's about the lunar landing. Which of these facts is true? All 12 of the astronauts who landed on the moon were from Texas. Or not one of the 12 of the astronauts who landed on the moon was born after 1935. Or every one of the 12 astronauts who landed on the moon got divorced or separated from their wives within 5 years of landed on the moon.
I think it's the last one. I think.
So you're saying which one
wives.
The question is true. Which one is true? I'm going to.
I think the last one. I think
all got divorced.
Yeah, because they were just going on about the moon landing all the time. It's like, oh my God, will you just shut up? It's so boring.
I know you're a hero.
Yeah. It's on the TV.
Yeah. I'm just going to go step into the kitchen. Let me tell you about somewhere else I've stepped on.
Okay, I think it's the second one. I think they're all born before 1935.
Do you know what? That is the correct answer. Every single astronaut, and some of them are still alive, they were all born before 1935.
Wow.
Which I find incredible. That the most futuristic thing that has ever happened on this planet, which is basically putting people on the moon. I like to say people, not man. But putting people on the moon, that's the most futuristic thing we've all done, that's ever been done. And each and every single one who's been there was born before 1935. When you think of anyone born before 1935, they're now obviously incredibly old. I find that insane. And some of them like way before then as well.
I think my answer was funnier.
Yeah. Definitely. Well, in actual fact,
we're not trying to be funny, Faye. We're trying to be dull.
Do you know what? With my lack of research, I haven't checked on the marriages of every single man. That could be true. That could be true as well.
Could be true.
I was wondering if all three of them were true, but I would go for
No, they weren't all from Texas. That I do know. That I did check.
That would be very strange, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that would be. They were all from different parts. They were all from different parts of America.
I think going to the moon, quite boring. What would you do when you're there? Just testing samples of rock all day.
No, they do. Well, that is what they do. They found incredible amounts of information from doing that because they were able to bring the geology back, and by the certain rocks that they found, they could tell where those rocks came from, whether they were like hit by asteroids and from the craters, and what the composition of the moon would be.
Is that going to help us
on
this planet saving the Earth?
But Faye, can I
knowing
just say,
stuff like that?
Can I just make another point about the usefulness of being on the moon and having actual people on the moon as opposed to just robots? And that is, it's seen as now as a launch pad to get to Mars. Because the only way we're going to get to Mars is
it's like a bus stop.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because it's much easier to launch off the moon. You could all the energy, all the
and
materials.
And why do we need to get to Mars? Because eventually we'll all be living there one day. Because we've ruined our
apparently
Earth.
Mars is a launch pad for, I don't know, Pluto. And then that's a launch pad for something. No, I don't know. It's a good question. Why do we need to go to any of these places? Why don't we just look after our own planet? Why did Columbus cross the Atlantic? Why did we just like doing these things, don't we? Well, maybe dull men like doing them.
Putting people in space and getting to the moon was probably a vanity project for the Americans at the time, and for NASA, I would say. But they did sort of shoehorn a lot of science into that. And it is a stepping stone for gaining further information. Before they got to the moon, which was in 1969, as you just rightly said, Dave, they sent a satellite to Mars. And I didn't realise this until quite recently. I think it was about 1963. And it went round Mars, took some photographs, which were sort of beamed back. And I think that's incredible that in the early 60s, they were sending satellites. And that is really important because they never, ever, up until that point, would have seen Mars that close up. It would have just been like through a telescope. So they didn't really know what they would find. Potentially there would have been people thinking, well, there might be life on Mars or evidence of life. You just wouldn't have known.
And you know about the famous story of the canals on Mars, where they, for quite some time, it was thought there was civilization on Mars because these canals had been identified.
Yeah.
Which were straight,
which is unusual in nature.
Courses.
Yeah.
And they were, and it was fairly quickly disproved, I think, with more powerful telescopes and things like that. But yeah, for a long time, people were absolutely convinced there was life on Mars because, why not? It's another planet. It's not that far away, and we can see the canals. It's like if they pointed a telescope back at us, and they'd see the Manchester Ship Canal and say. And Liverpool and Manchester, and they say, it's definitely no civilization in heaven.
Oh dear, you're going to get lots of complaints.
Yeah,
now.
well, complaints mean listeners. So I don't care.
Bring it on.
Yeah, exactly.
Bit of controversy there.
Yeah.
Or is it controversy? There's a question.
Controversy or controversy? Yeah. I don't
think
know.
controversy sounds better. Doesn't it?
I'm sure probably one's American and one's British, but I don't know which is which.
Which sounds stronger when you're saying it? I don't know which one I use now. I'm going to struggle with that word for the rest of my life.
Even by our standards, this is getting very dull.
I do like talking about the space race because
but Faye
I find
doesn't.
No. Well,
she thinks it's pointless.
I'm really interested. No, because I'm torn, Faye, between agreeing that we've got a lot of science to do on this planet and improving this planet, but also how important it is to observe space and things like that and learn about the Big Bang and all about that. Because for me, learning about space and the Big Bang potentially is evidence proven or disproven if there was a creator of the universe and things like that. And I think that is fundamental in knowing who we are and where we came from. You know that joke, why did the chicken cross the road? Do you understand that punchline of to get to the other side?
No.
So the bit to get to the other side, because the chicken is crossing the road to get to the other side of the road, but to get to the other side is a metaphor for dying.
Oh, I've never thought about it like that.
It's a really clever joke, isn't it?
Yes.
And no one gets it.
Yeah.
I've known that joke for God knows how many years, and until
Yeah.
2 seconds ago, I didn't know that.
Better if it was, why did the pheasant cross the road?
Well, that says a lot about where you live.
Yeah, exactly. Only if you live in Britain.
Rural Britain. Why did the pheasant cross the road?
In America, it would be why did the turkey cross the road?
Yeah.
Wild turkeys are often the roadkill there.
Wow,
So.
it's quite a deep joke, isn't it?
Yeah, it works on so many different levels, and it's a joke that everyone knows, but very, 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 very few people get.
Well, it's good to have a real comedian.
Exactly.
You can point out
rather than a
analyse.
pretend comedian. Look,
Yeah.
I've made a list of things in preparation for today, so
Brilliant.
I just want you to react to
Yes.
the things that I've come up with. So
Yes.
I really had to dig deep for
Yes.
these. So,
Yes.
people who spot mistakes in films.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, is that you?
I think that's everyone's husband.
Do you have a husband?
It's so dull. It's
I have
so
not
dull.
got a husband, but my wife has a husband.
Oh, does she? Right.
It's so dull. Having been on a film set just a couple of weeks ago, the attention to detail, there's so much that goes into every scene.
Yeah.
Things occasionally will slip through the cracks.
Yeah.
And you've got these very dull people out there going through every single frame going, oh, look at that. That isn't,
There's
sort
of websites dedicated to pointing them out, isn't there?
It's got nothing better to do with your time.
But it is, I think, if you've been in the film, you will be able to spot them really easily. You know, there's a thing. It's in Braveheart, isn't it? When he's doing a charge and he runs across.
That's
and
a really
the first one, he's got an
famous
axe, and then he's got a sword, and then he's got a spade, and then he's got a machine gun, and then he's got an iPad, and then he's got nothing.
But seriously, people have got too much time on their hands.
Do you know? I think an interesting sort of variation of that is when you see a film or a TV show that is about a subject that you know something about.
Yes.
So maybe in your case, Faye, maybe a show about radio broadcasting, for example.
Yeah.
And of course, then you spot every mistake, and there are always loads.
Yeah, that would never happen.
Yeah, exactly. We don't do it like that.
Yeah, that would never happen. Yeah, when you're watching James Bond, so well, that's not the way you jump off a boat when you've got like an oxygen tank, as if that's the only thing which is wrong.
You do not want to watch a spy thriller with a member of MI6 on the sofa.
Yeah. That's not the way you garrote someone.
Exactly. We don't kill them like that.
Yeah.
Right, Dave, this is quick fire now.
Okay.
So, your reaction to people who paint yellow circles around dog poo in public areas.
My reaction to that is I didn't know people did do that.
What?
But if they do, then I think that's pretty sad. It'd be better if they picked it up and took it away.
Exactly. If you've gone to the trouble of marking yellow spray around a dog poo, just bend down and it's like, oh look, you've let your dog poo on the pavement. I'm going to put a big yellow.
It's telling someone off with artwork.
Yeah,
but
I kind of agree with the sentiment.
Yes,
because I don't like dogs pooing. I don't own a dog, and so therefore I can be very superior about dog owners, as you know, Faye. And But yeah, walking around with a can of spray.
And that's a semi-permanent mark on the pavement.
Okay.
So that is actually worse than the dog poo, is it not?
Well, definitely. But is it not an alert to someone else walking? Is it for that? That's what I'm asking the motive. Is it to alert someone else, warning. Don't stand in this? Oh. And why should I, so they're probably thinking, well, why should I pick up someone else's dog poo? I am the same, so I don't own a dog. But what I have recently learned about picking up dog poo is that it feels weird to the owner when they pick up another dog's poo by accident. They go to pick, and it's not warm and soft.
I've done that.
It's cold and hard.
I've done that,
and
really
it's like
recently.
It's like the necrophilia of picking up dog.
And another pet hate of mine, which is very closely related to this, I think, is the hanging of poo bags on trees and bushes.
Yes,
now,
I'm with you on this. Just take it home with you.
No, but
just take it home
I've heard, again, because I was having this discussion, because it's a fantastic discussion to have. Do people do that dogs do a poo, they hang it in a tree to then continue the walk and then come back and then
they forget.
Collect it.
Yeah.
And then they accidentally forget.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that is the reason. I don't know. But it's whatever. You see it around a lot, and you're on a nice country walk.
Because you don't really want to walk around holding a bag of poo, so that's why they hang it on the tree.
But my friends who own dogs that I occasionally go for walks with, that's exactly what they do. They pick up the poo, tie it in the bag, put it in the pocket.
Yeah.
It's not that difficult.
It's isn't it a way, taking a dog for a walk? We're all married here, but isn't it a way? I know a lot of people say it's a great way to sort of like.
It depends if your dog's
single.
Cute. If your dog's cute, everybody wants to stop.
I've just got visions of people. Yeah, and I've just got visions of sort of like trying to chat a woman up, but you're both holding poo. It's sort of a weird situation. Like that's a weird situation. You're sort of both trying to hit on each other, but you're both holding excrement.
Gives you something to talk about, doesn't it?
Well, it
that's
does.
A big one you've got there.
Yeah. Whoa.
Thank you.
Your St. Bernard's is healthy.
What have you been feeding him?
Yeah.
Okay, next subject is Greg Wallace's Inside the Factory TV show.
Okay.
Have you seen it?
Yes.
Yes. Any sort of reaction to that?
Watched
Do you find it interesting?
No, watched it. Haven't watched it again. Only because there's too many other things to watch.
Right. Okay.
See, my initial reaction to that, and I've seen little bits of it, but I've never watched a whole one. Is I quite like knowing what goes on inside factories. So I am the very definition of a dull man.
Yeah. Even though, does it not sort of take away the mystique of how your beans get into the cans?
How the sausage is
made.
I
didn't need to know that.
Yeah. It's probably an absolute load. A friend of mine used to work at a very, very, very well-known ice cream factory, which I won't say, which one it is, but let's sort of waltz down this. Yeah.
You can look that up, folks. Ice cream factory.
Walls I try and some of the things I hear about what used to what used to happen in there. People using the measuring equipment to measure out drugs and all sorts and stuff. It's like, oh my word!
Did the drugs go in the ice cream?
No, I don't think they did. I think it was too profitable.
See, that would be a really good spin on Inside the Factory. What really happens? What really happens inside the factory?
Yeah.
I heard a story about. So it's an old editor that I used to work with, and he did a report at a crisp factory, and I won't say which crisp it is because they're still manufacturing crisps now, but basically they make crisps out of, like potatoes and the black bits and green bits of potatoes that we all cut out.
The eyes? Are they called the eyes?
Yeah, the nasty bits.
Yeah.
These crisps are made out of the nasty bits.
Oh, really?
That they cut out. And he said, don't ever eat this brand of crisps. And you'll know why when you taste them. It's like, they're really potatoey, aren't they?
Wow.
I know. So I think Inside the Factory, what really happens.
Yeah. Jamie Oliver, because Jamie Oliver did that with chicken nuggets, didn't he?
Yes.
He showed kids what goes on in their chicken nuggets.
Was it chicken nugget or turkey Twizzlers?
Maybe turkey
I only said
Twizzlers.
it because he was famous for highlighting turkey
and
Twizzlers.
It is the entire chicken, feathers, everything, feet,
Nothing
the lot,
gets
and
wasted.
it is just mushed into a red paste, and then stuff is added to it to solidify it. And that's it. The kids were watching it, and they're like, "Yeah, don't care. Just want to eat them. They taste brilliant."
Let me give you a bit of
great. You're whacking some numbers.
Let me
That'd
give
be
you a bit
fantastic.
of historical dullness.
Wash
here.
down with some Monster Energy drinks.
Stand by for some historical dullness. Okay,
Okay,
this is
here we
really
go.
dull. Right, Upton Sinclair wrote a book in the last century called The Jungle. American author.
Okay.
And The Jungle is about the meat packing industry, specifically in Chicago, in the stockyards.
Right.
In Chicago, as they then were, and he wrote it to highlight labour inequalities and the fact that all these immigrants were being forced to work for very little money in these horrible conditions, etc., etc. And he published it, and it was a bestseller. And the effect of it was the workers didn't get any benefit at all. There were no reforms of working practices, or very few, not for years later. But what did happen almost immediately was they reformed food hygiene. So Upton Sinclair was aiming for people's sort of social conscience, but what he actually did was he hit them in the stomach, and they thought, "Oh my God, we're eating that meat. It's disgusting."
Yeah.
Famously, the pigs would. They said they when they processed pigs in these stockyards, and they were big conveyor belts. He described them as a very river of death, as these thousands of pigs were sort of went into the top of a building, up a ramp, and then were fed by gravity down the building. And he famously said that everything of the pig is used except the squeal, which reminds me of your chicken thing. And so I guess there's nothing new, is there? It's just
weird that you should mention Jamie Oliver, because it was my comment about a Jamie Oliver TV programme, 5 Ingredients. I don't know whether you saw that really recently, and it's like all you need are these 5 ingredients. And this was the comment that I posted on my Facebook page, which got me nominated onto the Dolman's Facebook group. So here it is. I'll read you what I wrote. Some discussion around the dinner table about my Jamie Oliver's 5 ingredient recipe for apple tart. But is it really 5 ingredients? Jam, pre-made puff pastry, and ice cream making up 3 out of the 5 ingredients. There are other ingredients. 5 components, surely not ingredients. And I've written myself, God, brilliant. This is a dreadfully dull post. So my husband was arguing. I made this apple tart, Jamie Oliver. Thank you very much for the recipe. Everybody was enjoying it around the dinner table. I said, it's a Jamie Oliver recipe, 5 ingredients. And my husband said, hold on a minute, what are the 5 ingredients? So one of them is ice cream, because you serve it with ice cream. I said, but ice cream's got this, this and this in. So you can't call it 5 ingredients.
Yes.
What do you
think?
5 components.
5 components. So it should be called the 5 components.
Yeah, it doesn't sound as good.
That's not selling many cookery books.
And of course, Jamie Oliver, famously now scraping the bottom of the barrel with his latest show, which is about air fryers and air fryer recipes, and which I believe has had some critical panning from some quarters.
Very good, Dave. Very good.
Thank you.
Watch out, Deech. Watch out.
Over my shoulder.
I wish I'd done that on purpose. Sadly, I didn't. I'm not nearly clever enough for that. But the anyway, this show, which I've not seen, so I really can't comment on it. But Jamie Oliver is now doing a series, I guess on Channel 4, I'm not sure, about air fryers. And it made me think, air fryers have become such a thing, haven't they? I've not got one.
No,
we have one.
I know loads of people who've got them. Has it revolutionised your cooking life?
Well, it kind of is, because we are having some building work done at our house at the moment. We have no kitchen at all. We haven't had a kitchen for about 6 to 8 weeks now. So in fact, our kitchen is a coffee table with a kettle, a toaster, a microwave, and an air fryer.
And does the air fryer do the washing up as well?
We have one functioning sink, which is horrible because it's like in a different level of the house.
It's where you wash your balls and brush your teeth.
Yeah.
Wash your what?
Balls.
Your balls.
Okay, right,
Your
okay.
balls.
Your balls. That's where I wash my balls.
This podcast has taken a rather strange turn.
I do that in the shower.
It's a multifunctional sink,
I don't teabag the sink.
Isn't that a bidet you're thinking of?
Yeah,
Dave shocked.
I do. Yeah, that's
Very,
right.
I'm speechless.
I multitask and I do it all at the same time. You don't need a green sponge. So the air fryer is critical to us eating at the moment because we have no kitchen, we have nothing, which is tough living, but it is what it is. So last night I had a toastie made in an air fryer.
Wow.
It is fantastic.
Is it?
4 minutes either side, 2 slices of bread buttered on the outside. In the middle is grated cheese and ham.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
It's really nice.
Can I suggest that before the next episode of this podcast, you watch some of the Jamie Oliver thing?
Yeah.
And you come back and you tell us.
Yeah, I'll do
whether it's any good and whether it works.
But it is, you can just do anything. So it's basically an oven. So you can't fry, but you can get close to frying if you want. So you could do fish fingers, things like that.
Everybody I know who's got one absolutely swears by them.
Yeah, well, it's all we've got. It's all we've got is an air fryer.
Yeah.
It's like living like prehistoric man for us at the moment.
What about microwave? Have you got a microwave?
We have a microwave, which is great for warming up, but you can't.
How long are you going to be like this for?
Speak to my builder. I think my builder has actually forgotten about us. I think he drives past our house every day and goes, "Oh, I wonder who's doing their building."
Want to get on with it?
That's why they put signs outside.
I've got a massive.
So they remember which projects they're doing.
I've got a massive sign outside our house, which obviously he put up with his sign. He must drive past because it's a company with a similar name to us.
Because I was thinking, do you think if you employ a builder to do your building, do you think you ought to ask for a discount if they put a sign up because they're getting free advertising on your property?
That's a
Yeah.
very good point.
And I sort of think, it's a bit like estate agents putting up a for sale sign. Now, you could argue there's a passing traffic would see that your house is for sale. That might do you some good, but I don't like this.
My theory was, one, it helped people find our house because you can have a lot of deliveries and things like that. But the other theory, I was thinking if there's a sign outside advertising him, he has to do a good job. So and hopefully a quick job, but that hasn't really sort of materialised. So that was it's sort of putting him to the sword by having a sign outside. So that's what I thought.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. Yeah. Well, not very, but
I've never known someone say the word interesting and roll their eyes so much at the same time. So this is it. It's over. It's ended. That potentially was episode 1. Potentially, I think it's more like episode -3. To be honest, we're sort of working towards episode 1, so we're slowly.
I like
slowly
that. Starting on negative numbers.
It's like a countdown.
The only way is up, isn't it? God.
Yeah.
How do you get out of here? Because I'm like just desperate to go now. Really, I'm like have some strong coffee and just shake this
door
experience
will unlock
off
on its own in an hour's
thank
time.
God for that.
Are literally have been sat in the cellar of an old convent. And that's it.
And can I just say, nothing exciting would ever happen here. This is this sort
an
of
old convent.
epicenter of dullness,
But
isn't
whose
it?
gimp suit is that hanging on?
Dave.
I have been Demetrius Deech. With me has been Faye H, and producing this lovely show has been Dave Harris. Join us again for another episode of the Dull Man's Podcast.